Hey guys, Carl from Moose Plays. Today I'm taking a look at Águeda from designers Dustin, Dobson, and Milan Zivkovic and publisher 25th Century Games. If you've been following my channel for a while, this might look familiar, and that's because I actually did do a preview video for this while this game was on crowdfunding, but that preview video was a tabletop simulator digital playthrough of the game, and my computer was kind of struggling and the video wasn't the greatest, but I did want to get a video made while that campaign was going. But now that the game has been published and is sort of widely available, I did want to put together a real video with a physical copy of this game for my channel because I am a big fan of these designers and because I did enjoy the game in my previous plays. So a little bit of a spoiler here right up top. Disclaimer, I was given a review copy of this game for this video, but any bias that I have for this from that already sort of existed because, as I said, I did do a video of my own while this was simply on the internet without any review copy before. So with that out of the way, let's head down to the table to see how this one plays solo, and then I'll meet you back up here to let you know what I think. To set up a solo game of Águeda, begin by placing out the main board on the table. Next, take the deck of shop cards, giving them a good shuffle, and then placing them out, or two of them out, on these two spaces of the main board. Then you're going to take these 6 different colors, give them a shuffle or mix them up somehow, placing one on each of these question marks, and the remainder of them will go over here in the Águeda souvenirs location. So here I've got red, like that, orange and purple. Whoops, they're spinning, yay. And then finally, the last 3 colors go over here in Águeda souvenirs. To continue setting up the board, I'm going to place all of the coins down here in the bank, and then randomly from this bag, I'm going to draw umbrellas to fill in the slots in this top location. And with that, the main board is all set up. So next I need to choose a player color for gameplay. Obviously, if you know me, I am choosing purple. So I need to take the 2 sort of player boards in my color, and I'll set those out here on the screen like that. And then on these boards, first I need to place out the 6 pieces of my mural face down on this board, matching the color shown in each location like that. And then I'll place 1 Taurus meeple on each of these 3 spaces and also the first 3 spaces on my player board. And you'll see I would normally stand them up in slots like that, but it's easier for you to see them on screen if I lay them down, so I'm going to be playing like that. I also need to place out tiles on these 3 spaces matching the 3 rows of colors over here. So orange and purple goes down there, yellow and red here in the middle, and blue and green up here at the top like that. And then finally, I will be placing my point tracker over here on the 0 space of the point track. And like that, we are set up for the main game, but as I am playing a solo game, to continue setting up for the solo mode, first things first, I need to take this solo mode card, and I need to decide which difficulty level I'll be playing. For this game, I'm going to be playing on standard level, so I'm going to put that card down over here, and I'm going to use an extra score marker to mark off the fact that I am playing standard, like that. And then finally, I'm going to take this tour guide deck, which is sort of the solo bot deck, give that a good shuffle. Setting that down here with room for sort of a discard pile. And then I'm going to take 1 final score marker to mark the AI score, setting that at 0, and with that we are all set up to play, except that I will be the first player and kind of the only player in the game, and I will start also with 2 coins in my supply. And with that, we are now finally all set up for gameplay. The game of Águeda in the solo mode is going to play out over a series of rounds equal to the number of cards here, which will be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 rounds. And in each round, you can see what's going to happen based down here on this player board. It says on your turn, first pick umbrellas, then place the umbrellas, update my mural if necessary, and then attract 1 or 2 tourists and score them or take a break. So let me walk you through those 4 steps. After I've taken my turn, I'm going to turn over the top card of the AI deck and do whatever it says. So on my turn, step 1 is to pick umbrellas. And the way that I'm drafting umbrellas is following these arrows around the outside of this area, meaning I'm picking a diagonal row in either direction to draft into my sort of player board area. Any of these ones that are marked with this sort of orange colored arrow I can take for free, means I can take these 2 or these 2. Any of them that are marked with a green arrow that have a picture of a coin with a plus symbol will give me 1 coin when I draft that. So I could take this purple umbrella and 1 coin, or this red umbrella and 1 coin. Or any of these 4 spaces marked with this red arrow and a negative coin means I must spend 1 coin to take that. But I could take sort of this purple, orange, purple, purple, yellow, red, purple, orange, red, or purple, green, purple by spending 1 coin. And this is the only way that I'm going to be losing or gaining money. So basically, anytime I take a single one, I can take 3 on a future turn, but I do start with the ability to take 2 sets of 3 from the beginning of the game. And you will see, since we are playing out over 10 rounds, the next thing I do is put those umbrellas here, which I'll explain in just a second. I just want you to see that this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 times 3. So I will be placing out a total of 28 umbrellas, or up to 28 umbrellas, onto my player board. So once I've drafted the umbrellas into my area, I then need to choose 1 horizontal row to place all of those umbrellas. I must place all of them, and they must be placed all in 1 row. I can choose to place them in any order that I'd like to. The only thing I need to pay attention to when placing is, well, the scoring conditions, which I'll talk about in just a second, but also these sort of paintbrush areas on my board. Anytime I place an umbrella of a color that's never before been placed on one of these paintbrush spaces, I will flip over that associated mural token matching that color. So the first time I place a purple umbrella on a paintbrush, I would flip over this purple mural piece, and so on. And you'll see later what I'm doing with these tourists, but while I'm talking about that, anytime I flipped over 2 murals in a horizontal row, I will then activate that tourist, putting them in my available supply. And again, when I'm placing out umbrellas, I need to be thinking about the goals as printed here. So let's go over those goals first, and then I'll talk about the last piece of my turn. The Playful Peacock Bookstore says I'm going to score 1 point for every column, or each column, that has 3 different colored umbrellas, at least one of which, no, not at least one of which, exactly one of which is red. So if I have red and 2 other colors in any column, for every column that matches that, I will score 1 point at the end of the game. So I want to get lots of mixed columns that include red. Paulo's Pottery says during final scoring, I'm going to choose either orange or purple, and I will score 1 point for each column that has exactly 1 umbrella of that color. Well, those work real nice together. If I have lots of red-orange or red-purple combos in columns, I could be scoring lots of points that way. And then finally, green, yellow, and blue are going to be scoring 1 point for every 2 of those 3 colors I have on my board at the end of the game. So once I've sort of set up the world to be red and orange or red and purple, I should do my best to maximize as many of these 3 other colors as possible. And then finally, the last step of a turn is I can choose to place 1 or 2 meeples on one of these tiles. And when I do, I'm going to score that row based on the colors shown on that tile. If I place 1 meeple or 1 tourist on the tile, I will choose either color and score 1 point per color that matches that color in that matching row. And if I place 2 meeples there, I will score both colors in that associated row. The other option is, instead of placing out these tourist meeples, I can take a break. Taking a break means any meeples that have already been placed on these tiles come back to my available supply, and these tiles are going to cycle. So everything is going to slide down 1 space, and the bottom tile will go up to the top. So the colors that are associated with each row will be rotating, will be changing as we go through the game. And then, as I mentioned, after my turn, I'm also going to flip over the AI deck and do whatever it says. The AI is going to also be drafting umbrellas, but they will draft umbrellas before I refresh. Normally in a game you will refresh between each player's turn, but the AI does not get a refresh before they draft. They will simply draft from what remains after my turn. And the AI is going to score at the end of the game 1 point per umbrella of the highest, sort of the largest amount that they have in their supply at the end of the game. They're also going to be scoring points every time they draft umbrellas, so I kind of want to try and avoid giving them as much stuff as possible. The only other thing that you do score that I haven't talked about is at the end of the game, you will score points based on the number of mural tiles I've flipped. 4 flipped is 2 points, 5 flipped is 4 points, and 6 flipped becomes 6 points. And also, any empty spots that I have left on my board at the end of the game will score -1 point each. So I need to be careful not to leave any holes in my player board. All right, then let's go ahead and dive into gameplay. Again, I want red and orange or red and purple in nice columns for me. But if I'm focused on orange, I shouldn't focus on purple. And if I'm focused on purple, I don't want to focus on orange, if possible. I see a nice setup. Green, yellow, and blue get me extra scoring possibility. Blue and green is a thing, yellow and red is a thing, and purple and orange is a thing. So I'm going to straight off spend a coin to draft this purple, yellow, red. And then I have to place them out in a row. It doesn't really matter which row, except that red and yellow both score for this middle row. So I'm going to, again, right now I don't care so much which murals I'm flipping, just that I want to kind of focus on flipping multiples, and I know that I want to draft lots of red and purple, so I'm going to activate the yellow one first, because I don't know how many yellows I'll be getting. So I will flip that over, having activated yellow on that brush space, and then I will actually play 2 tourists onto that slot, scoring both red and yellow, which is 2 points. So I move up to 2. Now we flip over the AI's card, and you will get to see their first card. And this one says, discard all of the color with the most umbrellas. If tied, I get to choose, and then they're going to score 1 point for each of them. So let's see, the most right now is purple, which is a shame. They're going to take all 3 purples, and I'm going to sort of make rows of those so we can keep track of what they've got. So 3 purple right now, they score 3 points, and we refill left to right, top to bottom on that window. And that right there is a lot of orange, which is a little bit of a problem because I've already gambled on purple. Doesn't mean I can't make a switch. But right now, I think I'm going to take the red-blue. And I'm going to put a blue here because I don't want 2 reds in the same column, because I want to have only 1 red. And this puts red into another column as well, which is good. Whoops, not there. That's a mistake. We're going to put those up here. That was a mistake. That goes there so that I can score this blue. Gets me 1 more point, like that. Yes, that's my turn. AI flips a card, and their card this time says all purple or red. That's great. There's only 1 red. So that goes there. They score 1 point, and we refill. All right, well, things just got somewhat interesting, and it's looking like orange is going to be important for me. So if I focus on orange right now, the problem becomes, I'm worried that he's going to take all the orange, but he might not. Because I don't necessarily want to put orange down here because I'm out of meeples, so I can't score it, and it's going to flip, so orange goes up here. And I don't know if that's a great idea, but it's also not a horrible idea. If I spend a coin, do I want orange, orange, red? Yes, I do. Ooh, yes, I do. Okay. I am going to spend the coin to take orange, orange, red, because that eliminate some orange so they won't score a ton if I leave it. I'm going to put the red here. So now this column has a red. And that means orange, orange, which means I'm probably focused on orange and not purple now, but not necessarily. And I did place red there, so this red flips. Excuse me. Which means I do have this tourist. But there's nothing else to score except this orange purple, and I have nothing there. So that's not useful. So I am going to pass. These slide down. These all come back. Like that is the end of my turn, turning over another card. Discard all of the color with the least umbrellas, which is green. That's okay. Green, they get 1 point. Like that. Refilling. All right, well, that makes things a little bit interesting. I want orange, so I can put orange in these 3 rows. But I don't have any coins, so the only thing I could take right now with 2 is orange and red, and I definitely don't want red in either of those spaces. So I am going to take this orange and a coin, like that, because I can do that, which does flip over this tile, which is worth doing. And then I'm going to score just orange, and this row gets me 2 points. Like that. And now let's hope they don't take all the oranges. Yellow or green, whichever is most. So they'll take those 2 yellows. Great. Yellow, yellow, they score twice. 1, 2, like that. Refilling those 3 spots. All right, I think that orange, green, orange is looking correct. Yes. We are spending this coin to take these orange, green, orange down the bottom row here. Putting orange and orange and green here, which does flip this green here. It's not the best because I can't really score anything right now, which is a little bit of a problem, but I'm setting myself up for lots of points at the end. Yeah, it is what it is. Unless I want to do blue, blue, green in there and hope that I can get oranges later. No, I've already done what I've done. I'm going to pass because I can't score anything. That may have been a mistake. Refreshing like that. They take their turn, blue or purple with the most. So they take 3 blues. That's 3 points. 1, 2, 3 to 10. Refilling. And that right there looks pretty not great. Okay. Realistically, what I'm looking at is red or yellow. I don't know if I'm going to have enough time, because if I take orange, green, I could put it here, green, orange. Then I need a single, and a 3, and a single, and a 2. Or I take the red and put that there to lock in that. Then I can score green or red. Yeah, let's do that. I'm going to take the red and a coin, and I'll put this red in here like that, because now that has orange and red. Then I might as well activate the higher scoring one of 2 reds, getting me 2 points like that. AI takes orange or yellow, whichever is most. Okay, so these 3 oranges go away, which is good because I'm almost filled up on orange. So that's 3 more points for them. 1, 2, 3, filling in. Like that. And I think the blue, blue, green might be my option right now. Absolutely. All right, so blue, blue, green. Spending that coin. I don't care what order they're in because they don't score specially for locations. But hold on. Because one of these needs to be blue, and I don't want the same color in the same space. So let's put green, blue, blue. Like that. And then I will spend 2 tourists to activate that bottom row, which is now 4 points. 1, 2, 3, 4. That's a good catch up from me. Flipping over a card, red or orange. They are going to take those two reds, which is nice because we're spreading them out. They don't have anything they're going to score a ton for at the end of the game, at least not yet. That's 2 more points for them. And we refill. Then I am going to need a round of 1. A round of, hold on, no, yeah, because I don't have any 3s. So I can do 2, 2, 2. Yeah, there's 3 rounds left. 1, 2, 2 or 2, 2, 2 works fine. But 2 means I'm getting rid of things. What do I need? I need an orange in this column, for sure. I need a purple and a blue on these 2 spots. I could do blue-green. No, because I need an orange or a purple, an orange and a red here. So I don't want to do blue-green. I could do blue-green here, swapped from what's here, except no, because I need an orange and a red here. Orange and red, this row is messed up. I can't. Because that has to be blue or purple. And that has to be blue or purple. Okay, so both of these are destroyed. So I don't care what goes here, but this row could potentially score. So let me not put things there. So right now, I think either purple only or blue and green. Purple only scores me points this round. Let's do that. I'm going to take that purple and a coin to put that there like that, which flips the purple mural like that and gets me that guy back. Good. They get to discard all of the color with the least umbrellas, means orange, green, or blue. I don't care about the green, and that's their lowest anyway, so they get 1 point. Although I just realized on my turn I forgot this step. I was going to score the 2 purples like that. Refilling. Okay. I need the blue. Yeah, this is my time. Okay, I'm spending coin to take those 3 like that, but I'm not placing the yellow one because I want to put blue here and I want to put red here like that. Means this flips over. I get this tourist. I have a red here. If I can get an orange here, that column scores. Right now, that's not possible. This yellow goes away. Back into the bag. That's my turn. I am passing, so all of these guys come back. I've got them all now. This rotates. AI takes their second to last turn, discard all with the most. So they're getting 3 more yellows, which is not horrible because yellow was their lowest. They score 1, 2, 3 for that. We refill for the final round of the game. And that worked out almost perfectly. I wish I would have had a yellow, green, or blue with that orange, but I'm going to take that one for my final turn, putting an orange in this last row, putting that purple right there. Which means this one is going to score now for both of those things. And then I have 1 more scoring row. Yellow and red is 1, 2, 3. Blue and green is 2. Orange and purple is 3. So either way, I'm scoring 3. If I do that with a single for 3, whatever, 1, 2, 3 is that. AI is going to draft their last one, green or blue, whichever is more. They get 2 blue, like that, 1, 2. That is the end of the game. We go into final scoring. Let's start with myself. First things first, I flipped all 6 pieces of my mural, so I get 6 points. 16 and 6 is 22. Each shop, 1 point for each column with 3 different colors and a red. So this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Then each of the 3 objectives on the market board. No, I'm sorry, not each of the 3. This one. One of these 2 colors, clearly we're choosing orange. 1 point for each column that has exactly 1 umbrella. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 33. And then all the umbrellas, green, yellow, and blue that I've got is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Checking that again is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. divided by 2 rounded down is 1, 2, 3 points like that. Yes, AI, we're playing on standard mode, gets 10 points to start from 21 goes to 31. And then 1 point for umbrella of the most discarded color, which is yellow or blue. Means 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and we tie. Let me consult the rulebook because I've never had a tie before to see who wins. And unfortunately, it says I need the higher score to win. It says if these scores are equal, we tie. That means the AI is the winner. Ouch! I didn't score enough of these tiles, which is, I think, ultimately what messed me up. But that is the game. So let's go ahead and take a look at the components. Components in this game for me are wonderful. This giant bag of very, you can hear that clicky clacky plastic umbrellas. I love them. They're super punchy color. They all have unique icons on them so you can tell which is which at a very quick glance. I love the wooden versions of them for these different goals. The coins are just punchboard, but they are very cute coins. There's a sort of rooster on one side, and the other side has the umbrella on it like that. The design of everything looks really cool. I love how this mural flips over to form a picture, and each of the different colors has a unique picture on them. Also, I'm not going to pull them out and show you, but each of the unique color boards also has unique pairings or mixings of the color. So when you do play multiplayer, you're not trying to aim for the same sets of color, which does sort of mix things up a little bit. As for these shop cards, you're only using 2 of them every game, and there's a ton of those shop cards, all with different scoring conditions. I'm not going to show them all to you, but let me just show you some more. Odd number of umbrellas of a color, score 1 each. Same amount of umbrellas in the 2 colors, score 1 point for each of them. At least 2 of each color, score 1 point for each umbrella of this color. So there's lots of different variety of the way you're scoring, and you're always going to play with 2 of them. Then, of course, scoring half a point for each of the 3 colors that remain in every game. Again, everything here for me looks really great. The punchy colors, the great design of the sort of street shops of Portugal. Really, really, really cool visual design for me. The game also comes with everything in Portuguese, so there's a full set of cards in Portuguese, there's a rule book in Portuguese, and the backside of these boards all are in Portuguese as well. As far as an insert, this game doesn't have an insert, it's just a big empty box, but Baggies works perfectly well, and I can't fault them for not wasting money on an insert that was bad, and a fancy insert is fancy and expensive. So anyway, not a negative for not having the insert. I just want to point out that this is just a box with bags for the components. So that's basically all I have to say about the components. Meet me back up top and I'll let you know what I think about the game itself. Welcome back. I hope you enjoyed the playthrough. While it was a little bit crushing to lose to the AI in a tie at the end of the game like that, I'm actually happy to get this on camera like that because this is actually the first time that I'm losing the game at this sort of standard difficulty level. And I've sort of been toying with the idea of kicking it up to the next difficulty level, and I'll talk more about that later when I talk about how the AI plays. But I was sort of at the point where I was always sort of just barely winning, but if I gave them the extra point addition for the next difficulty level, I was never going to be winning the game. So I am happy to see that I am sort of able to lose the game at that sort of standard level without kicking up the difficulty. Now that said, I probably will push myself to get high, go higher and higher in the difficulty just to continue bringing that challenge. But let's set that to the side for a minute and let's focus on the core game. Well, this is now the second time I'm doing a video for the game. I've done it once before on TTS or Tabletop Simulator digitally with my computer while this game was on crowdfunding. So that should already tell you that I am a very big fan of this game. I have to say Dustin, Dobson, and Milan Zivkovic did it again. Another great spatial puzzler from this design team. I'm a huge fan of theirs, and I continue to be impressed by all of the designs that they're bringing out. And again, I really, really enjoy what's going on here. This game, to me, feels like what everybody told me Azul felt like when they played it. Everybody was raving about Azul as this really cool spatial puzzle with these really cool clicky-clacky sort of acrylic tiles that you're playing with, collecting these tiles, drafting them, slotting them into your board to match certain patterns and scoring, playing with drafting and placement and so on and so on. And I played it and I didn't hate it, but there was absolutely nothing there that excited me about Azul, and I've never really understood all of the hype that it got. This one fills sort of all of those statements that people made to me about Azul, the cool clicky components, the drafting component, the sort of spatial laying out the things into some kind of tableau on your board to score points kind of thing, fighting people to draft the right things, aiming to score different goals based on different patterns and so on. Except that this one I really do enjoy. So let's talk a little bit about how the game plays. The gameplay itself, the sort of core mechanical loop, is very, very simple. On my turn, I'm going to draft somewhere between 1 and 3 umbrellas, and then I'm going to place all of the umbrellas that I've drafted into one of 3 rows on my player board. And then after placing onto my player board, I then have the option, if I want to place some of my meeples onto a sort of a tile matching one of those 3 rows, and score based on 2 colors in said row. Now there is a little bit more to it than that, so let's go ahead and sort of strip that down step by step. First, the drafting bit. I'm choosing umbrellas from a sort of available display of umbrellas on the main board, and I'm always choosing in a sort of diagonal row, which was interesting to me because I'm not sure I've ever seen this sort of idea of diagonals as a sort of selection option here, which is really cool because it means that sort of every grouping of things that I can possibly choose has some overlap, has some sort of something that is shared with another group of things that I could potentially choose. I can freely choose to take 2 umbrellas if I choose one of the sort of diagonal rows that has 2 umbrellas in it. Or I can choose 1 or 3 umbrellas depending on how I interact with the game. If I choose 1 umbrella, I gain coins. And if I choose 3 umbrellas, I'm forced to spend a coin to take those 3 umbrellas. So there's this balance of, if I can take 2 all the time, that's not a bad idea. But sometimes I really want that 3, so I need to make sure I have coins available to me. And I do start with 2 of those coins, so that's not too much of a hassle at the beginning of the game. But sometimes you get these really cool combos of 3 umbrellas that I really want to slot into my sort of player board in order to hit certain goals, to sort of take advantage of the way that those umbrellas have been seeded out onto the board. So this balance of when to just take 2, when to take 1 to plan ahead for the future to get big turns, when to sort of take those big turns and risk spending those valuable coins that you may want later on for an even better set of umbrellas that you then can't spend. And this whole drafting idea is really interesting to me. And it really does work not just drafting for me, but also preventing the opponent from getting what they're trying to draft, or the so-called hate draft, if you will. And that really works both, well, I'm assuming in the multiplayer game. I haven't had a chance to play the multiplayer game, but based on what I see, that's definitely there in the multiplayer game. But that's also there in the solo game because the AI is going to draft things based on what's remaining there after you've taken your turn. So you can sort of make sure that there's no large groups of any one color so that the AI doesn't just sweep and take a ton of stuff, scoring a ton of points both right then and then at the end of the game. I will talk more about the AI scoring later, but that's the drafting bit. Very, very unique with this diagonal drafting, with this idea that you can take a medium amount for free, spend to take more, receive money to take less. Really cool drafting system. And then after that, you're placing out your umbrellas into 3 rows on your board. And you always have to choose one of 3 rows to place into, which already adds a sort of restriction that's interesting because as you get closer and closer to the end of the game, you want to make sure that you fill in all 3 rows, because if you don't, then you're going to lose points for any empty spaces you have at the end of the game. And it's really not that hard to fill in, except that if you're trying to maximize the score in a specific row, you might end up not filling in some of those rows. But more than that, there's a bunch of different reasons I'm placing things into places in my sort of player board tableau area. There are 3 goals for every game that you play, 2 of which will change, and the 3rd one, which is just going to be sort of an everything else kind of goal. And those first 2 goals are going to score based on sort of the layout of how the umbrellas are placed out, often scoring for specific colors in certain columns or rows or even number of colors or odd numbers of colors or specific patterns of colors and so on. And then the third goal is always going to score sort of half a point for every of the remaining 3 colors that you have anywhere in your tableau. So it's about collecting specific colors, but it's also about putting those colors into specific sort of vertical columns and sort of focusing on the numbers of specific colors and so on, depending on which goal you have going for that particular playthrough. But then on top of that, there's a couple more things. There are ink blots or sort of paintbrush spots scattered throughout your player board. Not really scattered, they're in these sort of diagonal lines across the 3 rows on your player board. But every time you place a unique color on one of those spaces, means a color that hasn't been previously placed on one of those paintbrush spots, you're going to turn over the corresponding tile on your sort of mural board off to the side. And those are going to be set up in sets of 2. And every time you flip over the 2 that are adjacent to each other, horizontally adjacent to each other, you will get one more Taurus meeple, which is going to sort of score in the third part of each turn, which I'll talk about in just a minute. But also at the end of the game, you're scoring points based on the number of those mural tiles you flipped over. So the more you can flip over, the more points you can score, which means you're doing your best to sort of diversify which colors are placed on those particular spaces on your player board throughout gameplay. So this is now an additional step, an additional layer of where these things need to fit in, how I'm going to place them, what order I'm going to place them, which row I'm going to place them. And then on top of all of that, now the third part of each turn is I can place either 1 or 2 Taurus meeples, assuming I have them available in my supply, onto one of 3 tiles that lines up with one of the rows on my player board. And each of those rows is going to score a set of 2 colors. And then for every umbrella of those 2 colors, or 1 color if I've only placed 1 meeple. So the way it works is, if you play 1 meeple in that row, you choose one of those 2 colors. And if you put 2 meeples in that row, you're going to score both of those 2 colors, counting the number of umbrellas of either or both of those colors in that row and scoring 1 point for each. But once you've got meeples on there, you cannot score that row again until you decide in a turn at the end of the turn not to place any meeples, and instead you're going to sort of take a rest turn, and those rows tiles rotate. So they all slide down one and the bottom one moves to the top, which causes a wrinkle in things because you're trying to maximize as many of those 2 colors as you can in a single row to score big. But if you do that and have only those 2 colors in the row, when those tiles rotate or sort of shuffle to the next row, now those colors don't line up at all. So does that mean I rest 3 times in a row to get a big score again when that cycles back to that original place? Or do I try and sort of set it up so that some of those colors are on this row and some of those colors are on this row, and I can sort of score twice for them, so that it's like sort of every other turn when I'm resting instead of every 3 turns when I'm resting? There's a lot going on here, thinking about those goals, thinking about scoring pairs of colors or specific colors in each of the rows, thinking about flipping over as many of these mural tiles as possible, thinking about denying your opponent the things that they need in order for them to most successfully do these things. All of this together makes for a really interesting sort of draft and place spatial puzzle game that I really, really enjoy, which clearly is evident because I'm coming back to do another video for this game. But this is a game that I think probably didn't get the attention that it deserves and absolutely should get much more attention than it has. Because again, for me, Azul was this huge explosion that everybody knows, that everybody's playing, and so many people rave about. But I think this game does that same sort of idea so much better. Cool, really cool theme. If you don't know, Águeda is a city in Portugal, that has these sort of market streets that are covered overhead with the umbrellas. So that's what this umbrella theming is all about. Really cool theme, really beautiful components, really sort of crunchy puzzle with very, very simple mechanical loop that you sort of go through, draft and place, draft and place, draft and place. But while you're placing, while you're drafting, you really have to think about this plan of where things go, when they get placed, what order they get placed in, doing your best to maximize all of these different kinds of scoring and placement rules along the way. I have a blast with this game every time I play it. Again, big thumbs up for another Dustin and Milan design. I love this game. Definitely, if there's something, if spatial puzzlers and sort of drafting to place into a tableau kind of games are games that you do tend to enjoy, definitely give this one a look. Even for solo only, I really enjoy this. I would definitely love to play this multiplayer, and I absolutely will at some point. But even as a solo only game, the AI does enough that I really do have to pay attention to what I'm doing. Let me talk a little bit more about that because I haven't yet. The AI is super simple to run as well. You're simply turning over a card, and that card is generally going to give you some kind of condition about what they're going to draft. And the cool thing in the solo game is you don't refresh the umbrellas after your turn. You only refresh the umbrellas after both yours and the AI's turn. So they're only drafting from whatever you've left them in that sort of display. And they're generally, not always, generally going to take whatever is most abundant based on some rule. So it's like most abundant of these two colors, most abundant color at all on the tableau. But occasionally you get sort of lucky that it takes the least abundant of the umbrellas in the display. And sometimes when it's selecting from two colors, if you've managed to remove all of those colors from the board, then it doesn't take anything. And that's important because for every umbrella the AI drafts, they instantly score 1 point. And then at the end of the game, they're scoring an additional 1 point per the number of umbrellas of the color that they have the most of at the end of the game. So if you allow them to get a lot of a single color, they're going to score that giant number twice. So you kind of have to push them to diversify colors based on what you're allowing them access to along the way. You also have to pay attention to not allowing so much of a specific thing to be out there on the board because they take everything when they take a particular color. So you kind of got to push them to take a wide variety of things to keep their score low. Try to make sure they're only drafting as few things as possible, so that really does add into your decision-making process about what you're drafting, not just to help yourself, but to prevent the AI from scoring really, really large in the game. Again, I really enjoy the solo mode. As a solo mode, I would be perfectly happy to play this game only solo. Really cool drafting spatial puzzle game. Definitely stays in my collection for a while at least. Who knows, super future, but for right now, this deserves its spot. I'm very, very happy with this game. As always, I hope that this video was helpful for you, and if it was, please remember to like, subscribe, and click the bell icon below, and I'll see you all next time. Thanks.